J.D. Vance stuns. Actually, the clip went viral to a point where people started sharing it. It was caught on a live mic. J.D. Vance says something about the president. And I actually don't know if it benefits anybody in this whole situation. Wait till you hear what he states. We've got it. I want to show it to you because it threw me for a whirlwind. And the truth is, what's the future now for J.D. Vance? What's the future of this administration after what he just said? We're going to talk about his on-mic moment, his hot mic moment, about something that I don't know if it was a right speak at all. We'll dive into it. Also, we're going to talk about a day in May. What day in May is so important to the president that he's saying there's something big happening? We're going to discuss what his plans are, this new thing that he said that he wants to start, and he wants to start it in May here in America. We're going to discuss that. Also, we're going to hear from what Sean Ryan stated and how he believes that no matter how much we expose, he said, just like my show, his show has done, millions of people watch these kind of things to realize nothing actually happens. And he said, sometimes I just get to a point where I just get burned out. But I think he speaks truth. We've seen all this stuff take place. We've seen all the fraud. We've seen all the massive problems. We've seen all the exposures, and yet nothing takes place. Do you remember that Fort Knox gold audit that we were supposed to get? You remember that $5,000 Doge check we were supposed to get? You remember all those promises that we were going to have voter ID and all this? You see, we were promised a lot from both sides of the aisle, but yet nothing gets done. We're going to discuss a lot of that today. And then lastly, we're going to discuss Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is literally doing a Middle East, cheerleading session to talk about all the benefits of all the Middle Eastern countries as he's spitting on the face of Israel. Now, it doesn't matter your thought pattern on these Gulf states or these Middle Eastern states or Israel itself. The bottom line is we have someone who is supposedly on the conservative side, who is supposedly a Trump supporter, who is ultimately casting shade on the president and his relationships with Israel versus these other countries. These other countries that are Muslim ruled that actually want the death of America. What's happening? I'm so confused because I feel like we're living in an upside down world. Truthfully, it's like Stranger Things. We literally are living in an upside down world. Let's dive into all these stories today and so much more. Let's get started. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new, please go down here, press subscribe. It means the world to us that you're here. So if you like the content, give us a thumbs up too, and hype it if you can. That means the world to us. Now let's jump into the stories of the day dealing with what's going on. First, let's just see this clip from J.D. Vance. I'm going to show you this clip because I want us to talk about it because I believe that he said something that I don't know if he actually... I know he's a smart guy and I know he's a good orator. I don't know if he thought this one through, especially on a situation where he was being interviewed by someone who is going to have a lot of eyes on, especially in the conservative movement. Watch this.
Yeah.
And there's a real question about whether there's a massive shift happening now in terms of world alliances long term.
Well, there's definitely, I think, a new world order. I think the president has sought to it. There's a new world order in trade. There's a new world order in globalization and the way that we invest in our economy versus, foreign supply chains. There's a new world order and that the president is willing to shake up some old alliance structures.
So J.D. Vance says his plan and Trump's plan is to make America great, and part of making America great is this new world order. Now, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't have used that terminology. I don't think that was a good terminology because that has such implications of being something bad and a global push like we've been trying to push against for so long. Now, granted, there's two ways you could look at this. One is he misspoke, and really what Trump is trying to do is make an American sovereignty and American empire to make the world revolve around America once again. So it changes the way the order has been in, these superpowers, axis of powers, things like that. Okay. The tariffs, it changes the game. American sovereignty and being back on energy first, kind of pushing oil and gas, again, those are good things, changing world orders. However, when you use that terminology, it could also mean this, that their goal is to do exactly what we thought we voted against, is for allowing people to have power that we may not want power. Now, let me go back and state this for the record. I'm a Trump and J.D. Vance supporter. I voted for him, and again, I'm glad I did. But here's the thing I want you to pay attention to. What I've realized is no matter if there's an R or D behind anyone's name, I don't know if anyone's actually looking out for our common interest. I think about the stable coin and the CBDC and those kind of things. Well, me, I like gold. I like debt-free. I like conservative values. I want our dollar to be strong. I like cash. I like those things. The Democrats they don't actually like that at all. However, the Trump administration has not really liked that either. They kind of like this new crypto-style currency. They like this stable coin. They like the push for this new digitized way. So is that one of those world orders that we're going to see that's going to change and put us basically in a surveillance state? I think that there's good things when it comes to changing the way the world works, because I believe we've been led by this European mantra and this woke ideology and even this liberal ideology that's kind of had a slant towards Muslim thinking, kind of like Tucker Carlson wants to talk about. But I think the words he spoke is actually going to turn more against him and turn more against the conservative movement than actually benefiting him. Here's what I think. For the majority of conservative, traditional, value-oriented Christians and Republicans who actually don't call themselves Republicans, but actually live the values out in their life, they don't want to see a change to something new. The whole point of being a conservative and a traditionalist is to go back to the things that once were, that once made our country great. Getting out of debt, staying out of debt. Giving the people the power of freedom and liberty, less tax, more money in their pockets. That's what I think people wanted. So when we talk about changing world order, we talk about this new world order, I don't want to go to this new world. I want to go back to the one that we once had. The one where America is first and that the people of America are the ones taken care of, not the rest of the world. So I don't like this at all. And they were pushing for this as this new future look. Well, to be honest with you, I don't think that I want, you can say Palantir, you can put XYZ in that blank, AI, you can put crypto, you can put anything in this blank. I don't want that as the world order that's supposed to take care of us. But J.D. Vance makes sure he says it, and not only says it once, he says it twice, 3, 4. I don't like this. What's going to take place in the coming future? I hope it's not this, because if we see this new changing times, instead of changing, I just want to go back to traditional values. America has thrived for 200 years. In the last 50, we've pretty much burned it because we've allowed for government to get too big. Think about that now. America, under the last 250 years, we were at 250 years old. 200 years, it seems like we went through all the turmoil, the conflicts, the world wars, the issues, and we always come out on top. For the last, I'd say 50, 60 years, really since the 60s and 70s, when we started doing all this welfare programs and growing our government, it started really going down. That's also about the same time that the intelligence services really started too. It's something to think about. It kind of leads me back to the list and files. That kind of goes back to what Sean Ryan just stated. He says we're exposing all this stuff. We're seeing all this fraud. We're seeing the dangers of this government. We're seeing the dangers of the world. We're seeing the biggest players. We're seeing the waste of our tax dollars. And yet nothing is happening. I wanted to try it just to say, is when our phone's listening to us, the information that we put on there, how dangerous is it for us? Are we actually compromised? So I said, I'm gonna go to Google and I'm just gonna Google one of my sister's names. So I typed in her name. All of a sudden I started realizing my oldest sister's old address from 4 years ago was on there. Our home phone number was listed on there from when I was a kid. Not only that, it gave emails. It gave all this information. So I called her and I said, do you realize I can get all this information, probably take out a few credit cards, open new accounts? It blew her mind. I want you to try this too. I want you to go and just Google one of your family members' names. Not to be a creeper or anything, but I want you to just test my theory. Go out there and just Google. It will blow your mind at what you can find out about your family members. The sad thing about when you search, a lot of this information, a lot of these websites, a lot of the places that you go are ran by data brokers. They're getting your information, and guess what? They're sharing it with people who are not the most reputable, maybe even on the dark web. From scammers to spammers, none of these people are actually looking out for your well-being and your information. Now, here's the thing. They're not legally able to have your information if you tell them to take your information off. But I'll be honest with you. If you start looking online, you realize how many people have your information. It's almost impossible for you to go to all these companies and say, please, take my information off your sites. See, that's the benefit of my sponsor today, Aura. Aura comes alongside you. They work to do just that, to take your information away from being vulnerable, away from being compromised, from the people that want to scam you and spam you all the time. Aura identifies all the data brokers that are getting your information, and they give an opt-out clause, meaning they cannot legally have your information anymore. It's kind of like having a house and having doors and having locks and never locking the door. Aura allows you to lock the door. Give Aura just a few weeks. I promise you what you're going to see is your information is going to start being yours again. You're going to realize the spammers and scammers are going to stop. Aura also continuously monitors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're going to make sure they let you know if it is. Also, they have a world-class VPN to keep you safe as you search the internet. Do not miss out on this opportunity to utilize Aura to benefit you and your family's safety online. Remember, let's lock the door. You can go to my link below, aura.com/themacs. It's in the description. When you click on that, you're getting a 14-day free trial. In that 14 days, you're going to realize all the benefits of what they're doing. They're going to opt your information out from being vulnerable and compromised. Check out Aura today, aura.com/themacs. Do not miss out on this opportunity to have this free trial along with your safety. He said they don't think that American people should be talking about such things as like the Epstein situation anymore. Well, the American people wanted these things found out. The waste, fraud, and abuse. The fact that people don't need to be here. The fact that we can have good voters' rights. The fact that we wanted back to at least a shining light and a guiding light in a city on a hill that America once was. But what we've done is we've just exposed the depravity of it all. And yet, every player, all the political hacks are telling you that, oh, that's just old news. Forget about it. If we don't start finding out these answers and actually start making solutions to the problems, the debt, the depravity, the fact that we're allowing people to just come in, the fact that we're allowing other nations to buy land, I mean, all that's problems. And it's all been exposed. From the Minnesota-Somalia situation, from the California rail lines to literally the Nord Stream pipeline to literally everything that you can think of has been waste, fraud, and abuse. To now the Epstein situation, to just more release. I mean, what's so funny? Andrew Tate, who again I don't believe is a spokesman for men at all, but he says this is just one thing. He said there's so many more islands, so many more clubs, so many more elite circles. He said y'all hadn't even scratched the surface, and he's probably right. Sadly, there's probably so much more evil. But see, the more you pry and prick at these things, the more you find. And the government's not willing, and the government for the world, the biggest players in the world, are not wanting to be exposed. So I don't think anything is going to change, and I believe we're just going to sweep it under the rug like we always do. I don't want a new, changing world. I want the traditional values that's made us great for so long. I want to go back to the way that values and morals were honored around Christ and God that made the nations great. That is what made countries great. That is what made populations thrive. Because they had children. They saw something valuable in family. We've lost that. I don't know if I liked what J.D. Vance said and what he was saying that Trump was doing. It's not good. Now let's go to this date. This date here, May 17th of 2026. You know, I told you that this is our 250th birthday. Well, Trump spoke at the American prayer breakfast, the prayer breakfast that they do every year. And he says this. It says, President Trump stuns Americans by announcing America will dedicate, listen, he didn't say dedicate, he said rededicate its life in itself to God on May 17th, 2026. He says, we're going to rededicate America as one nation under God and represent Jesus and represent Christ. Now, I'll be honest with you, that sounds so great. I love when people dedicate their life to Christ or convert to Christianity. I love those things. But what I don't want us to do is get a spiritual bath. Meaning we say we're morally obligated or we're value-centered, and then we go back and we're funding Planned Parenthood. Or that we're still stealing money of the taxpayers. See, speaking words and then doing something different is exactly what hypocrisy is. That's a sign of depravity. That's a sign of sin. That's the sign of what we're actually seeing in America. It says politicians love to tell you what they're going to do, and then they actually do the exact opposite. I don't want that anymore. So if Trump is being honest here, and he's saying May 17th, we're going to rededicate America to Christ. That would be awesome. That would be unbelievable, and that would be the world order and change. That would be the one change I would want in the in the world, that we would come back to Christ and we would have revival. I don't believe that's going to take place. I believe that's a good talking point to try to bring conservatives back into the circle, because to be honest with you, I honestly feel like true conservative traditionalist Christians are they're out to dry. They have no value in the Republican Party anymore, and they sure don't have they sure don't have value in the Democrats Party anymore. I feel like we're just like the lost sheep sitting out here waiting for someone to come rescue us. And it's like one person throws us a lifeline and we just go hook, line, and sinker for them. Now, do I believe that we need rededication? Do I believe we need revival in our nation? Yes. But you have to get the sin out of the camp. We've talked about this for the last few days. We have major issues and major problems with some of the political elite. We have congressmen getting filthy rich. We have files and lists exposing all kind of big players. And yet, nothing's done on it. I mean, they're tied to crypto. They're tied to... There's some, if you go into the files and lists, some of these things are tied to like getting rid of people, if you get what I'm saying. And they redact some of these names. I'm like, what? We don't need to redact them. We need to arrest them. And see, if we can't turn back to God and rededicate our missions or our America to God until we fix and get some of this junk taken care of. Now, that doesn't mean we have to be clean before we rededicate our life to Christ. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying we've got to quit funding Planned Parenthood. We've got to quit schmoozing over for all these elites and politicians to keep taking advantage of us. We got to quit doing all that. If Trump really wants to have legacy, and J.D. Vance really wants to have legacy, and they really want to make an impact, their impact should be this: to turn back to God. That's the only way that we truly heal our nation. Seriously. All right, last thing we're going to talk about Tucker Carlson. What's taking place? This is where he's at. He's going all over the Middle East right now. I want you to listen to what he said. He says there's now fewer Christians that live in the Holy Land than most of the other Middle Eastern places. And they have less freedom in Israel than they do in all these other Middle Eastern countries. That is so much of a lie that it's unbelievable. He tries to throw so much shade on Israel because he has such a hatred towards them, that he's willing to try to build up all these other nations like Qatar and these Gulf states and Middle Eastern countries. Most of these Middle Eastern countries will absolutely either put you in a certain area if you are a Christian. They'll make you serve in one little area where you can talk about God, and it's one little spot in one little area in like Qatar or in Saudi Arabia or wherever it is. But other than that, if you speak anything other than being your Islam faith, you die for it. You're thrown in prison for it. Don't let Tucker Carlson, who is supposed to be on Trump's side, who is supposed to represent conservative and Christianity, he's done more to help the cause for Muslims of making them more, I guess, friendlier to America than actually helping Christians. He basically always goes after Israel for no reason. No reason. He nitpicks things that he wants to talk about, and it makes it look like he's right on every aspect. I want you to listen to what this person stated about Tucker. He said, "What appears to me is that Tucker is truly demon-possessed." He said he continues to spread lies about Israel. Senator Ted Cruz just wrote this. Qatari spokesman Tucker Carlson lying again about Israel. He says there are fewer Christians now and fewer in absolute numbers, and particularly percentages of population. True Christian population in Israel has grown. He said what Tucker is trying to do is say that Israel is persecuting Christians. He said, actually, here's the numbers. Christian population in Israel has grown, and where it was less than 40,000 in 1948, it is now 180,000 in 2025 with a 350% increase. He said there's no other region in the Middle East, this person was stating, trying to bring facts to Tucker Carlson, there's no other place in the Middle East that's actually gained in Christianity and lost in the other religion. He said, look at Syria, look at Egypt, look at Armenian area, the Azerbaijan area, look at even places in India where Thomas was, in the Middle East where a lot of Christianity thrived. He said now they're all Muslim rule. He said because ultimately they persecuted them. He said Egypt was once a Christian nation. Now look at it. Syria, same way. So don't give me this and don't listen to this guy. But this is what scares me. And I'm going to end the video with this. Do I care what Tucker Carlson says? No, I mean, he has the right to say whatever he chooses to say. But when we give credence to him, and then we actually don't have anybody on our side, the conservative Christian side, who is not tied to political hacks like Ted Cruz or to John Cornyn or anybody like that, but I'm saying a true spokesman. We had it with Charlie, and we lost it. I think what I realize each and every day is how sad and how much we lost when we lost Charlie Kirk. Because I don't see any other Christian conservative leader standing up. Yeah, I see like Jack Hibbs and some of these ministers, and that's great. But where is our leaders? Truly Christian valued-centered leaders that push back on narratives like this of propaganda and impacted by the hatred. And that's how they everything that Tucker Carlson interviews now, if you look at all his podcasts, and I used to love Tucker Carlson, but every one of his podcasts is ultimately going to throw shade at one group of individuals more than anyone else. And I don't get it. I just don't understand. You know, I told you a long time ago that fight with the demon that he talked about with his wife. I truly believe he did fight with the demon. And I truly believe the demon may have won. Because since that point, he's lost his way. I used to love hearing him talk about gold and love hearing him talk about this, liberty and freedom and conservatism and wanting America first and all that. Now it seems like everything that he does is skewed to hatred of one group of individuals. And actually what he tries to do is slight people like the President Trump or the conservatives that are actually trying to do good things. I want to know your thoughts on all this. I mean, do you believe that Tucker Carlson's in the right or wrong? Do you believe that you want a world changing like J.D. Vance says? He spoke about it. I think he misspoke. I think it was a wrong speak. And I actually believe it's going to end up harming them more than helping them. Because to be honest with you, I don't think no one on the conservative side wants a new world. We want to go back to the one we had that made us great. And if we can make our money great again, our debt gone, and make freedom and liberty great again, I think that is America first. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video. God bless.